Hello folks, welcome to another week. So we've arrived at the special date of May the 4th, as in May the 4th be with you. So I've put a couple of extra activities on the Teams page for you to have a go at. Okay, right, so our starters for today are going to be helping us with our factorising. What I'm going to do today is go over factorising trinomials that combines last Thursday's and last Friday's work, so that we're using all of those stages. I'm not going to have them written down today, I'm just going to refer to them, and so that we get used to practicing these. Okay, alright, so first of all, our starters for today: find the two numbers which satisfy the following conditions. Right, so we've got words here, sum and product, right? So sum means you add them together, product means you multiply. Okay, so that's important that we know that and that we can remember it, because sometimes in assessments you will be asked to find the product of two things, or the sum of two terms or whatever. Okay, all right, so anyway, first one, we've got a sum of -9 and a product of 20. So this is the kind of thing that we've been using when we've been doing our factorising. I think it's easier to start with the product, and then we'll work out which pair of numbers it is. Okay, so what we want to do is write down the factors of 20. So because these numbers need to multiply together to give 20. So if we write down the pairs of factors, we'll be able to pick the right one. So factors of 20, remember, are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 doesn't go into 20, and then we've got 4 times 5, and we've already got 5. Remember, we go up our list of numbers and then we stop when we get to one that's already in the right-hand column. So now we need to find out which pair of these has a sum. So when you add them together, you get -9, but there's no negative numbers there. But don't forget, when you are multiplying two things together, if the signs match, the answer is positive. So we can get a sum of -9 because these pairs can be -1 and -20, and -2 and -10, and -4 and -5. So if we look at which of these you can make 9 from, it's got to be this pair. So our answer will be -4 and -5. There are two numbers that have a sum of -9 and a product. When you multiply them together, you get 20. Okay, same sort of idea for these ones. So product is -6. Let's write down the factors of 6. We're not worrying about the negative just now. So we get 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. Now, we can make 5 out of both of these. So we need to work out which pair it is. Okay, so what we need to go back to is thinking that our product is -6 here. So that means that the signs have to be different. So we've either got -1 and +6, or the other way around. And we've got -2 and +3, or the other way around. Okay, so let's take -1 and 6. When you add them together, you get +5. Okay, so if you swap the signs round, and you put the negative with the 6 instead of with the 1, then 1 add -6 is -5. So that's the pair, and the numbers are 1 and -6. Okay, for the last one, the sum is 3 and the product is -18. So we'll do the same as we did before. We'll write down the factors of 18. So we've got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And we've got a product of -18, which means the signs are going to be different. So we need to work out which pair of numbers here gives us a sum of 3 when we add them together, when one's positive and one's negative. Okay, so if you're adding two things together and one's positive and one's negative, if you're getting a positive answer, it means that the positive one is the bigger number. Okay, so it'd either be -1 plus 18, -2 plus 9, or -3 plus 6. So which of those pairs is it? it's going to be negative 3 plus 6, isn't it? So our pair of numbers is negative 3 and 6. Okay, all right, got a little bit of tidying up to do here. Okay, so next starter, multiplying out these two brackets. So I'm just going to do that using lines. Okay, so first one, that one, x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is minus 6x. Negative 5 times x is minus 5x. And minus 5 times minus 6 is plus 30. So we collect like terms to simplify. So we get x squared. We've got a total of 11x there and plus 30. So that's going back to the week before last when we were multiplying out brackets. Okay, so we're just going to go straight on with our factorising trinomials practice here. I've got just a variety for you to do and then a variety for you to practice. Okay, so if you are quite happy doing these, then you can pause the video, do your factorising and just check at the end that you've got all the answers right. Or you can go straight on to the practice questions, but of course you won't know if you've got those right unless you multiply them out yourself or you wait until tomorrow for the solutions. Okay, so I'm going to go through each one of these because I know that if this is the first time you've done National 5, these can appear to be a bit tricky because of the few steps that are involved with each one. Okay, so first one then. So our first step is always going to be to write two brackets, look at your first term and put in the front of the brackets what's going to multiply together to give our first term. So that's going to be step 1. Step 2 is always to write down the factors of the third term. Okay, so we've only got one pair of factors, haven't we, for 2? Okay, then we need to look at the signs in the brackets. So if this is a positive, then the signs in the brackets have to be the same as each other. So it's either plus plus or minus minus, and it's this sign that tells you which they are. So it's plus plus. We've only got one choice for the pair of numbers that goes in there. So we get x plus 1 times x plus 2. And we can do our little check here because remember that times that and that times that have to combine to give us this plus 3x in the middle here. So we get x from that one, 2x from that one. So we've got x and 2x makes 3x. So we know we've got the right factorising there. Okay, so I'm going to just skip back a couple of stages so that the answer is just written as you would see it. Okay, x plus 1 times x plus 2. Okay, moving on to this next one then. Again, same stage. Stage 1, write your two brackets and put your letters at the beginning. Next step, write down your factors of your third term, so factors of 6. So we've got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So it's going to be one of these pairs. And looking at that, we can see that the number we're aiming to make is negative 5 here. And actually we can make 5 or negative 5 out of either of those two pairs. So when we do this and this and this and this, it's going to be even more important than usual. Okay, so let's try it with 1 and 6. Wait a minute, sorry, before we put the numbers in, remember the signs in the brackets. So our plus on the end here, plus 6 means the signs in the brackets have to be the same as each other and they've to be the same as that one. So we've got a minus and a minus in the brackets. Okay, so now we can slot our numbers in. Let's try 1 and 6. Well, from that, we would get negative y here and negative 6y there. That gives us negative 7y altogether. So that is not the correct answer because we want negative 5y. Okay, so let's undo that. So it's not 1 and 6. So let's try the 2 and 3. So we get negative 2y from that pair and negative 3y from that pair. And negative 2y add negative 3y does give us the negative 5y. So that's the correct answer there is y minus 2, y minus 3. Okay, so same process every single time. Two brackets, letters at the beginning, factors of the third term. Look at the sign of the third term. So that's a minus. That means the signs in the bracket have to be different. Okay? So then we think about this and this. So looking at 1 and 14 and 2 and 7, the only one of those that we can make 5 out of is this second pair here. Okay? And the way it works is when you're slotting your numbers in, because we want to make a positive 5t, it must mean that the bigger number is the one that goes with the plus. So that's a 7 and that's a 2. And if we just check, we've got 7t there, minus 2t there. So we've got plus 5t altogether, which is what we were looking for. So our factorised answer is t plus 7 times t minus 2. Okay, and don't forget each time you can multiply out the brackets and check. Okay, so next, B and B, not a bed and breakfast though. Factors of 27, always start with 1 and the number itself. 2 doesn't go into 27, but 3 does, goes 9 times. 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 don't go into 27, so that's it, there's just 2 pairs there. We look at the sign of the third term, and that tells us that the signs in the brackets are going to be different. We've got 1 plus and 1 minus. Okay, so when we slot these numbers in, let's have a look. We need to make negative 6b. There's no way we can make 6 out of 1 and 27, so it's not going to be that pair. It's going to be the 3 and the 9, and the answer has to be negative, so that means the bigger number has to go with the minus. And then we can do our checking up. So this times this gives us 3b. This times this gives us negative 9b. And 3b, take away 9b, is negative 6b. So we know we've got the right answer there. Okay, next one. At any point, if you feel like, right, that's it, totally got the hang of this, don't need to watch anymore, that's fine, just go on to the practice questions that I've set you. Okay, but some people need a little bit more assistance. So you should all be well able now to spot that this is a trinomial and that we're going to try and factorise into 2 brackets. So to start off with your brackets and the letter at the beginning. Always follow the same process. Write down the factors of 28. Always start with 1 and the number itself. And then 2, 14s. 3 doesn't go into 28. 4 goes in 7 times. 5 doesn't and 6 doesn't. And we've got 7. So we stop there. And we need to now look at the signs. So this is a minus 28, which means that the signs in the brackets are different. We've got 1 plus and 1 minus. Okay, so then the next stage is going to be to work out which pair of these numbers are going to give us a combination of negative 3. Okay, so we can't make negative 3 out of 1 and 28. We can't make it out of 2 and 14, but we can make it out of 4 and 7. And because our combination has to be negative, then the bigger number goes with the minus sign. So 7 there and 4 there. And then when we do our multiplying out to check, that gives you 4m. That gives you minus 7m. So there's your minus 3m that we were looking for in the middle. Okay, next one. 2 brackets. U. Now, quite a few factors of 24 as we discovered the other day. So 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 5 doesn't go in, and we've already got 6 in our list, so we've got them all now. So we need to work out which one of these pairs is going to give us plus 10u when we do our multiplying out. Okay, so we can't make 10u out of 1 and 24. 2 and 12, well, we can make 10 out of that. What we've omitted to do so far, I keep forgetting to put this step in, because once you get used to doing these, you're not doing step. You just go through it and fix it all, okay? Now, we've got a minus 24 there, so we need a plus and a minus in the brackets. So let's go back to looking at these factors. With 1 plus and 1 minus, we can make 10 out of 2 and 12. We can't make it out of 3 and 8. And let's think about 4 and 6. If they were both positive, they would make 10u. But remember, the signs are not both positive in this case. We've got a plus and a minus because that's a minus. So we can forget about the 4 and the 6. So it's going to be the 2 and the 12. And we're wanting a positive answer. So the bigger number goes with the positive, with the plus. Okay, and let's just quickly check. We get 12u and minus 2u. So that gives you plus or positive 10u, which was what we wanted. Oops. Okay. I've got some more here. If you've already decided that you don't need the practice, that's fine. Catch up another time. But I'll just keep going through these just for reassurance for people who are finding it a little bit tricky. Okay, so 2 brackets and the g's. Factors of 24, we've just done them. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay, so we've got a plus at the end here, which means that the signs in the brackets, they have to both be the same as each other, and they're both the same as that one. So that means we've got a minus and a minus in a bracket. And now we have a look at each of our pairs of factors and work out how we're going to get negative 10 out of those. Okay, we can't make 10 out of 1 and 24. We can make 10 out of 2 and 12, but remember, the signs have to be different for that to happen. Okay, if we were looking for minus 10g, it would have to be the plus 2 and the minus 12, but we don't have different signs in this question. We've got 2 minuses, so it's not that pair. Can't make 10 out of 3 and 8, but you can out of 4 and 6. So the signs, remember, are the same in both brackets, so it doesn't matter which number goes where. And then multiplying out, we get negative 4g there and negative 6g there. So that gives us our negative 10g altogether. Okay? So whilst I'm going through these, if you're still finding it tricky, just keep pausing it. Every time I do something or I say something that I'm going to write down, pause it and think about what you would write down. Okay? Or go back a little bit and listen to the whole thing over and over. Just whatever works for you. Okay? So this one, 2 brackets, k and k. Oh, 64, here we go. Right, 1 and 64, 2 and 32. 3 doesn't go into 64. 4 does, 16 times. 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't. 8 times 8 is 64. So we stop there because we've already got the number in the right-hand column. Okay, so it's one of these pairs that's going to work for us. Now, this is a plus, so the signs in the brackets have to be the same as each other, and they have to be the same as that. So they're both pluses. So this is sort of the easiest scenario where we just go through each pair, think everything's positive, so what do you get when you add them together? So 1 and 64 is not going to give us 16. Neither is 2 and 32. Neither is 4 and 16. But 8 and 8 is 16. So if we put 8 there and 8 there, then we get 8k from that and 8k from that. So 8k and 8k gives us our plus 16k. But let me just undo those bits of writing. Because these brackets are the same as each other, we can write that more simply as k plus 8 squared, because it's k plus 8 times k plus 8. Okay, 2 more to go. So this one, 2 brackets, p and p. Factors of 25 and 25, 5 and 5. That's all we've got for 25. So we need to look at the sign of the third term, that's positive. So the signs in the brackets are going to match, and they're going to match that one. So they're both minuses. Okay, the only way we can make 10 out of these pairs of factors is to use the 5 and the 5. Doesn't matter which way around they go because the signs are the same and the numbers are the same. And like the last one, because you've got a bracket repeated multiplied by itself, you can make that into p minus 5 squared. Okay, so last one now. A at the beginnings. Factors of 24, we've already got those on this page, so we'll just copy them straight down from there. So we need to work out now, we've got our minus at the end here, so that means the signs in the brackets have to be different, and we're going to put one plus and one minus. Okay, so now we need to look at these factors, these pairs of factors of 24, and work out if we've got 1 plus and 1 minus, which pair we can get a minus 5 out of. So 1 and 24 is not going to give us 5, is it, or minus 5? 2 and 12 isn't. We can make 5 out of 3 and 8 because remember that you've got 1 plus and 1 minus. And we can't make 5 out of 4 and 8, so it's got to be that pair anyway. Our total in the middle here has got to be negative. So we want the bigger number to go with the minus. So the 8 goes there and the 3 goes there. And then when we multiply out to check, we get a positive 3a here, a minus 8a there. So that gives us a minus 5a altogether. So we've got the correct factorising. So remember, you don't have to have those little arrows drawn on the end. You can just do that as multiplying out to check. Okay, so that's all we're going to do just now on factorising trinomials. Okay, we've got different kind of factorising to be done. Tomorrow what I want to do is go through all the factorising that we've done so far so that we're okay at spotting which kind of factorising it is. So we'll practice that tomorrow, and then on Wednesday we're going to go on where we look at combining common factor with either difference of two squares and the factorising trinomials into two brackets that we've been doing the last few days. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow for that. Good luck with the practice questions, and remember there's those couple of little activities on May the 4th. Okay, see you later.